Nobody does fall better than Whole Foods Market. The Spice Up Autumn event is happening now. Save on animal welfare certified beef top sirloin steak, perfect with gravy for a comforting meal. Find savings on organic Honeycrisp apples and organic pears. Then, visit the bakery department for their limited-time pumpkin butter chai cake. And while you can, level up your fridge with fall wine, beers, and ciders. Spice Up Autumn at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Today on CityCast Chicago, among our city's many culinary creations, the Jibarito is one of the most unique. But I got a little secret. I ain't never actually had one of the Puerto Rican plantain sandwiches until now. I met up with Marisol Velez, aka Pinqy Ring, to rank a few of Chicago's best Jibaritos without knowing who made them. It's Wednesday, October 11th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I'm out here in Humboldt Park at the Bow House with the homie Pinqy Ring, a local Chicago MC, a teacher, a performer. And we're here because when I started asking people around the city that I knew who lived in Humboldt Park, where was the best place to get a Jibarito, Pinqy had opinions. And not only did you give us some options, some suggestions, some places to go, but you also said you wouldn't mind stopping by Humboldt Park and eating a couple Jibaritos. So lead producer Simone Alisea has gone to 3 different places, picked us up some steak and some veggie Jibaritos, and we're going to talk about why this is one of Chicago's greatest food inventions. Pinqy, you want to jump into this first one?
I do, actually. It's smelling very garlicky. So if y'all don't know, this Jibarito, the emphasis is on the garlic. The more garlic, the better.
Mm-hmm. For people not familiar, a Jibarito is made with green plantains that are fried, smashed, then fried again. Mm-hmm. On the sandwich, you'll find cheese, lettuce, mayonnaise, maybe some garlic aioli.
Definitely tomato also,
yes. Some tomato, some steak was on the very first Jibarito. Of course, now people make them all kinds of ways.
Absolutely.
Ham, chicken, you can get them veggie. But for me personally, I've never had a Jibarito. Pinqy, I know you love them. I've only learned the story of the Jibarito in the last couple of years.
You're kidding me.
Nah.
Oh,
so
this
is a special
even
moment.
more
Yes.
special. Y'all don't even know. Y'all are witnessing Chicago history right now. This is
and
like
I'm not
the
just
day.
eating one Jibarito. I'm going to eat 3 different
Three of
ones.
them.
And of course,
Three of them bad
mic.
boys. Yes.
All right. Dig in.
Oh, my God.
I got those.
I see the lettuce. I see the tomato. I see the thinly sliced steak. These plantains feel nice and oily on my hands. I definitely see some like garlic sauce on the other side. Let's get in here.
Wepa.
The flavor is nuts. Like this doesn't have too much lettuce on it, and so I'm not getting as much maybe crispiness. The plantains is fire.
Yeah.
The plantains is good.
Well, that's the Jibarito. When I'm trying to pitch this to people and trying to have them understand what it is that we're doing here, it's always picture the best steak sandwich you can have, but the bread is fried plantain. But you really have to taste it to get the true essence of this culinary genius that is Chicago-centric, but actually wasn't created in Chicago.
The recipe that Juan Figueroa found was in a Puerto Rican magazine. And so the plantain sandwich is something that's been there and been around, but he gave it that sort of extra spin and gave it that name. Originally it was called the Jibaro, which I think means hillbilly. But, you know, depending who's using it and who they're using it towards, could be a slight, could be endearing. It goes both ways.
Absolutely. And actually, I was asking some friends about it because I saw someone made a post that caused a lot of controversy on Facebook. That's how we Puerto Ricans say Facebook. On Facebook, there was a lot of controversy because my friend Carlos Jimenez was like, I love you, Chicago, but the Jibarito wasn't invented there. And everybody, even like folks that are like prominent community members of the Humboldt Park area and of Chicago, they had no idea that it was inspired by this restaurant in Puerto Rico called Plátano Loco, where they would put everything on a plátano. And so that's really where it came from. I think it was Aguada, Puerto Rico. So Chicago perfected it, though. I will say that. And it is a Chicago, Puerto Rican thing. You cannot deny that it's a staple in our culture and in our food here in this city and in Humboldt Park.
Why is this such a staple in, Puerto Rican Chicago?
I think it's just that genius, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with just the diaspora, right? Like, we're here, we're trying to maintain our cultural heritage from Puerto Rico while still celebrating what it means to be Chicago Rican. There's a lot of emphasis on New Yorkers, but Chicago Rican is a very real thing. And I think that this sandwich really displays that sort of, we're from there, but we're from here. We're from both places, and our cuisine reflects that, right? Because these are things that you would find in Puerto Rico. There's no plátano trees in Chicago, right? Maybe they didn't have access to bread or to the wheat to make the bread, but they have plátano. So they're like, we can just go put a bunch of stuff on some plátanos. And anyone who comes to taste it. I had some friends from Spotify in town. I took them there. Dates, I take them there all the time because I'm like, I'm going to impress you, boo. It's just a thing that it centers our pride here in Chicago, but also being from Puerto Rico and that sort of love story that we have with the diaspora when we're not able to go back as often. You can have this sandwich and have a little piece of Puerto Rico right with you.
So we just got through the first sandwich again. Simone isn't going to tell us where it's from. How you rating that? Let's go scale to 1 to 10.
I feel like I know where that one is from too, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that to myself. I'm going to give that one, I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
From my Jibarito tasting experience, I am the professional in this field. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give that one like a 8 out of 10.
Okay. 8 out
the
of 10.
reason why, and maybe it's a no fault of their own, but
they were in transit.
And also just the plantain, it needs a little more crisp to it.
I was gonna go there too.
That's what it is.
So I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I'm gonna give that one an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
The steak was hitting though.
The steak was very well seasoned.
They clearly lean into their steak.
Absolutely. Enough mayo where it's not overwhelming. Sometimes people make Jibaritos and it's just like slapping mayo on there. We don't want to like cover the other elements of the sandwich.
I feel that. I love how they did the double-sided sauce. Mayo on one side, sort of that garlic aioli on the other side.
Yes.
I was with that.
And that's importante, right? Sometimes some places will give you like a whole nother thing of garlic that you then pour on top of the sandwich. And also, there's also some hot sauces that happen sometimes, too, that you add to. I don't know if you're a hot sauce fan.
I see Simone breaking out some hot sauces on the side over here if we wanted. I was trying to taste them straight up.
Yeah, no, you should. You should always. So anytime I bring anyone to taste a Jibarito, you have to try it on its own first, and then you add. You have to do the steak, unless you're, if you're vegetarian, if you're vegan, there's options for you. But if you do eat meat, you have to try the steak first because that's truly the original recipe. Mm-hmm. And usually the steak, it's just the flavor of the steak with the tomato and the mayo and the cheese. American cheese, by the way, is not no other. Well, some people do white cheese, but
in Cleveland, I think they do Swiss.
They have these in Cleveland?
They got them in Cleveland. What? They are sold as far as New York. You'll find them across the Midwest.
See you.
Nobody does fall better than Whole Foods Market. The Spice Up Autumn event is happening now. Save on animal welfare certified beef top sirloin steak, perfect with gravy for a comforting meal. Find savings on organic Honeycrisp apples and organic pears. Then visit the bakery department for their limited time pumpkin butter chai cake. And while you can, level up your fridge with fall wine, beers, and ciders. Spice Up Autumn at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
All right, so we're going to jump into the second one. Off the back, as I'm looking at this one, I'm just guessing that this plantain is a little crispier just the way it's sitting, and it's a lot more iceberg lettuce around. So I'm seeing a little more crispy and more than
crispier.
Yeah.
It's like folded up, and it's a little thinner too. That's where you get the crispiness, is when you flatten it out really well and then refry it, because it can't be too thick or you're going to get that softness in the middle, which is okay. But this looks a little more along the lines of the crispy plantain.
They beat it down.
And then I see here this little side of garlic that I was talking about. You have to do that.
Got to do a little extra garlic.
Put the garlic on the top. Yeah. And I always tell people, when you have a Jibarito, like, you cannot kiss someone for like 48 hours unless you both had a Jibarito. And then it's all good in the hood, right? Because you both are garlicky as heck. And it looks like we have some hot sauce here. How do you feel about hot sauce, Jacoby?
I'm going to do the hot sauce on the second bite. I'm going to go the first one with the extra garlic.
Yes.
So we might be giving this one a little bit of a leg up by throwing garlic on it, but that's life.
I mean, but it
That's
came
how
with
is.
it, though, you know? So you
Oh,
got to honor.
this one was in this particular. Oh,
You gotta honor
I like
the
that.
ingredients.
No, they gave you what they gave you.
Listen.
Okay. I thought this was just on the side.
Yeah.
For all of them. Okay.
No,
I like that.
This is, and it's heavier. Oh my goodness. Now I'm biased because I know for a fact where this one is from. I definitely know where this one is from. My goodness. Definitely the perfect, what would you say, Jacoby? Is this the plantain we were looking for? Is this the thickness of it and the crunchiness of
For
it?
me,
Yeah?
This crunch is really
It's
nice.
crunching. The crunch is crunching,
And I
y'all.
can only imagine if I was sitting in the restaurant,
Yes.
how good it would be hitting.
Oh, and also, y'all, you got to remember that this is going to come with a side of arroz con gandules, too. So you got to, it's that yellow rice with the pigeon peas. Yes, they're pigeon peas in English. It's very weird.
So the original Jibarito was, brought to Chicago. The first iteration was at a place called Boricuan.
Borinquen.
Oh, one more time.
Borinquen.
Oh, Borinquen.
You got it?
Oh, I
Come
said
on,
that
you
so
Puerto Rican,
slow.
Jacoby. You Puerto Rican. You know you wepa.
And by a man named Juan Figueroa. That place was originally in Humboldt Park. It's now in North Center. But it just sort of blew up. His son, who still, I think, owns the current location, he says his father should have patented the sandwich, but he always says it wouldn't have spread as far and wide, not only in the city, but across America as it has if he had done that. And so he seems really content with just being, connected to the legacy.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you do go to other places and they have no idea what you're talking about sometimes. And that's why it's so known here. You can go to a restaurant here and get it. You definitely can't go to all places in Puerto Rico and ask for a Jibarito. As you were talking about the original Borinquen restaurant, I remember multiple times going there, sitting down, eating in that restaurant, because at the time it was also something that was affordable for me as a teen with just working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time. Like, it was something affordable, a sit-down meal we could have and feel a little fancy, even though we didn't have a lot of money to go to any, fancier, more expensive Chicago restaurants. So I remember multiple times going there, being there, and that just being part and parcel with the experience of Humboldt Park and Puerto Ricanness. It's a sense of pride that you have when you see someone take their first bite and you're like, yeah, you like that, don't you? It's just, it feels so good to be able to share our culture, especially in a time where gentrification is happening in this community. We're being pushed out. It's beautiful to see these staples and these restaurants still here and still thriving, and for us to be able to bring people from other places and say, hey, look what we're doing here. We're fighting against this. We're still here. We're still presente. There's a term called plantando bandera. That means planting your flag. You go up and down Humboldt Park, you see these flags everywhere. We do not play about our Puerto Rican flag.
You got flags hanging from your ears right now?
I do. I have Puerto Rican flags. And they're not just any Puerto Rican flags. These are the Paseo Boricua flags. I had to wear them specifically for this interview. Specifically.
How important has that been for you? I mean, you obviously live in Humboldt Park, but you've taken the story of Chicago, the story of Puerto Rican culture around the world.
Yeah.
You've taken it back to the island. You've taken it around the country, but even around Chicago. Like you said, people are going to be able to hear your voice in the Museum of Science and Industry.
Period.
You've hosted at the Lollapalooza
Yes.
stages. How important is it for you to just be able to rep this culture in the city and around the world?
It is the most important thing in the world to me, because if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And so for me, Chicago, I always say Chicago, being a woman, being a hip hop artist, being from Chicago, and being Puerto Rican are the things that have informed my career as a hip hop artist the most. All of those things have played a role in molding what my message is going to be, what are the things that I'm going to stand for.
Now take a walk through the streets of the shot. Young kings organizing for a piece of the pie. Reasoning why they skin brings.
And, I was adopted. People, literally, people will be like, Pinqy Ring from Humboldt Park. I'm like, y'all know I'm not from here, right? They're like, no, shh, shh, shh. Just shh. You from here now. I was adopted. And I love that because it's almost like a family outside of my family, because my family came from Puerto Rico and they didn't really celebrate their Puerto Rican heritage, right? And so I had to learn on my own what it meant to be Puerto Rican, learn the music, learn the culture. So all of those things are important, and that's why I share that in my story. I share that in my music.
Victory. We make it through the day to the day. That's a victory. matter what they say, we okay. That's a victory. Occupy church steeples till we equal.
So we finished 2 samples of Jibarito at this time. What is your rating for the second one?
That's a I'm gonna give that a 9.75 out of 10. Only because I didn't have that arroz con gandules. If I had the arroz con gandules, 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna give that one a 9.3.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
For my second one, the garlic, the hot sauce added.
Yes.
For me, that last bit is like you said, it's probably the experience in the restaurant. Getting it fresh out, getting it hot.
For sure.
But I will say the steaks from the first 2, they competing a little bit.
I will say the same.
The steak on the first one was competing to the point where I felt like they over leaned into it.
But I will say the steaks are comparable. And
Yes.
I'm really curious what that first one was
But that the plantains was not.
No.
No.
Plantains was lit.
They was not. So the first one did not come with garlic.
Nope.
The second one came with garlic on the side, came with some hot sauce on the side.
Yes.
This third one got garlic on it already, and it came with a little bit of hot sauce as well.
That's got to be more of a Chicago influence, right? Because Puerto Rican food in the island is not that spicy.
People think that all Latinx cultures are the same and that we all like hot and spicy stuff. Let me tell y'all, Puerto Ricans do not play that. We do not do... Sometimes, though, my mom makes a thing called pique, right? So it's like you look at it and it's a lot of peppers in there and all of that. But you just put a little drop on your stuff to give it... And it's always more flavorful than it is hot and spicy. This one is feeling a little spicy to me. But we gonna try it. We gonna try it. It's a big bite.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big bite. There's a lot to the bite. Whereas the other one, I feel like quick little bite. This is like you got to really get.
This is the heftiest.
This
of
is
all of them.
heftiest of all of them for sure. There's
It's
a
got
lot
the
of lettuce,
most
a lot of
crunch
tomato.
underneath the plantain. So the plantain is very soft. Like the outer edge is crunchy, the inside is very soft.
It's very soft, yeah.
But the onion and the lettuce are kind of compensating. Like I'm still biting right now on a little bit of lettuce onion.
It's not gonna be cute, girl. Just I got lipstick on my chin. I'm sure of it. It's all worth it, my friends.
What's the most creative thing you've seen on a jibarito or most creative preparation?
I would say the breakfast jibarito because there's different variations of it. You can do scrambled eggs. You can do Spam. So Puerto Ricans love Spam. I don't know if y'all knew this. And during my little stint of vegetarianism, like a real good vegetarian jibarito is fire. Like big pieces of avocado and peppers and onions. Like, so friends, please know if you're a vegan or vegetarian, this is something very friendly to you as well. You just got to find a good one. There's even shrimp jibaritos and fish jibaritos.
I get down on that.
Yeah, 100%.
I get down on the fish
Incredible.
jibarito. So the third one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've already said it, right? It was a little bit bigger.
Yes.
The steak was a little more thick cut.
Yes.
The lettuce and the tomato, I'm gonna give it today. I don't know if people would think I'm trying to joke here, but it was actually really good.
Yes.
The tomato was very juicy and the lettuce was very crisp.
The produce is important here.
Yes.
Like, is it fresh? Is it
Paid the most
nice?
attention to the onions. I might have thinly sliced them a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that the onions was prominently featured.
Absolutely.
Alongside the sauces as well.
Absolutely. And again, hefty, right? So if you're looking for a big bite, that one was the one. That one was like, I'm sure that one would be super filling.
Very good though.
Yes.
All three were good for
Yeah.
3 different reasons. So for this one, I might go like a 7.5.
Okay.
I might drop down just so it could be underneath my first one. If my first one was in an 8, maybe 8.5
This one would
range,
be- okay.
then this would be like a 7.5 to an 8 range. If you took the steak flavor from the first one,
Okay.
the plantains and
the
and the
second.
garlic and
Yeah.
the sauce from the second one,
Yes.
and you took the lettuce, the tomatoes, and the onions from the third
The
one,
produce from the third.
I think you gotta.
What are we doing here,
I think
y'all?
you gotta pop an
Are we?
ass.
We need to become restaurant
Come on.
advisor consultants.
I think you got the Jibarito.
Jibarito consultants. If you need us, come and find us. Holla at us. We will work for Jibarito sandwiches.
We got lead producer Simone Ali said again. Thank you for going to 3 different places to grab Jibaritos in the midst of a very busy but beautiful day. So number 1, where was that Jibarito from?
Jibarito number 1 was from Borinquen. So that is in North Center.
Okay.
So that is the original-ish Jibarito. I guess a couple times removed from original.
So number 2 is from.
That is from Papacache here in Humboldt Park, just right on Division.
And I know where this one is from. Can I reveal it? I think I know. Is that Jibarito Sin Más? Yes. Yay!
In historic Logan Square-ish, yeah. Yeah.
So we got 3 Jibaritos
Yes.
across 3-ish different neighborhoods with
Yes.
3 sort of not very different, but 3 uniquely different takes on the Jibarito. Each of them we were able to give some credit to for having something that stood out, was maybe a
Absolutely.
little bit better, a little bit sharper than one of the
Absolutely.
ones before. Pinqy Ring is a Chicago MC, performer, teaching artist. We will drop links to where you can find all of her work, places you can see her speak and perform in the near future. It has been an absolute pleasure, my friend, to sit out here, look at this beautiful water here in Humboldt Park, sit outside the beautiful Bow House. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And happy Hispanic Heritage Month, everyone. Brr, 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 brr.
Before we let you go, we want to give a huge happy birthday to Pinqy Ring. Thank you for coming on the podcast and enjoying 6 Jibaritos. I know y'all only heard 3, but we had a whole nother 3 of them boys off the mic. Of course, we got to leave you with some good news. The week-long Lit and Lose Festival celebrating authors, visual artists, and musicians from across Chicago and Mexico begins this Friday. For a full list of artists and venues for the 10th Anniversary Fest, check our show notes. As always, we appreciate you for reading and listening. Make sure you're back here bright and early tomorrow. Bring some new friends and family along with you. We'll talk to you then. Peace.
I am now a Jibarito consultant. I'm going to add that to my LinkedIn. So if you need me, holla at me.